Alright, hey guys. Oh shit, that's dark as fuck. Anyway, back with the rest of the 26 questions of my video Q&A. Okay. And, the last question I left off with was a little dark. Sorry. But, we're gonna continue right where we left off with, Nathan Wood and AWW and the rest of his 26 freaking 27 questions he asked me. Yeah, we're gonna start off with how did I first join the Asylum? I had first joined the Asylum back before it even became the Asylum. Back when it was still Cell Block Z with Mike, Jason, Jeff, Travis, Sally. A lot of, I think Albert was there. Donnie, like pretty much all the originals you hear about in AWW, that's where we all started, and why we call ourselves the originals, because we all had transferred over from Cell Block Z. I think maybe Terry was one too. We brought the game over from Cell Block Z to We'd all brought the game over from Cell Block Z to AWW, what was then known as the Chamber of the Asylum of Wrestling, and now is Asylum World Wrestling. So that's how. Migration. Did I go through a hell week? For those who don't know, one of Travis's big things in AWW was the new guys that showed up got put through a hell week, and Hell Week is basically where everybody and anybody that wants to take part will just beat the living snot out of your character. It's almost like a gang jump in a way. It actually became more popular once we switched over to the Chamber in the Asylum of Wrestling. God, that name was so long-winded. But I never had an official Hell Week. Although when I had debuted in Cell Block Z, I pretty much was like any other guy you see. I was running at the mouth. And the first guy I went running at the mouth with was Jeff. And I didn't have so much as a Hell Week as in I was... There it goes. Did so much have a Hell Week as in I was being jumped in promos or attacked like that. But needless to say, after I made my debut in Cell Block Z and continued on through AWW, it was a month and a half, well over almost 20 matches before I even finally won a match. And I think that kind of a losing streak is almost a Hell Week enough. Who was my first feud with? My first feud was with actually Jeff Hammer. At the time, was calling himself the legit one, Jeff Hammer. Started over just a regular wrestling topic that we're talking about in Cell Block Z. We were talking about the issue of Chris Benoit, the double suicides, if it should and should not affect wrestling. Kind of dumb mute at this point, but I was a big Benoit fan as a wrestler. As a human being, I'm probably one of those conspiracy nuts that I don't buy that he offed himself and his whole family. Sorry, I've lived in Georgia for a small time. I know what Georgia cops are like, and they're lazy as fuck. Dead guy note. Yeah, sure, suicide. Easy peasy. But anyway, the feud had started with Jeff Hammer over Chris Benoit. And, started to the first match, which led to another match, which led to like a week's worth of matches against Jeff, and then led to me and him just randomly being teamed together as a tag team. And our first tag team match together, we beat Mike and Travis for the World Tag Team Championships, and then all of a sudden feud's done, and now we are the legit Shoguns. Huh. How long have I liked wrestling? since I was 3. Because my dad always used to watch the old AWA when they were still around. And he used to watch a lot of NWA before it became WCW. My dad was a pretty big guy. And he was hardcore into the bodybuilding. When he was younger, he actually used to weightlift with Hawk and Animal. That's kind of cool. But a lot of times people would see my dad and would have mistaking him for a pro wrestler because he was so big. And one of my fondest memories, I want to say I was 5 before the whole thing happened. And AWW was actually in town in Rochester. Fun fact, used to have their headquarters in Rochester. And Dad took me to a show. I had Chief, I don't know if it was McDaniel or Strongbow. I can't remember. I was too young. I just remember it was an Indian guy with a headdress. Sergeant Slaughter, I knew that from G.I. Joe. And had the Minnesota Construction Crew, and like a couple more guys that I don't now. If I try to think about it, I don't know who they were. 'Cause I didn't know who they were then, but I just thought it was cool because it was the first thing that me and my dad ever did, like father-son bonding thing. And I've just been a fan of wrestling ever since. It's like a live-action comic book you watch getting to play out, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I stuck with it, and it hasn't failed me yet. Do I plan things out with my character, or do I wing it? In AWW, I do try to plan a lot of stuff out, just to keep it organized. And actually, a lot of the stuff I've done in AWW, it's always been in working with the guy I'm facing. We know what we want to say, we know where we want to take it, because it's not so much that we're doing the promos for ourselves. It's like almost like a real show. We're trying to work the promos to make it entertaining for the rest of the members of the group. So in AWW, there's a little bit more planning to it. In the promo only groups, it's a lot more winging it, because I don't think ever in AWW you'll see Shogun just walk up with a fucking 15,000 ton Mecha Godzilla in the goddamn parking ramp, chasing other competitors down to their homesteads and threatening to stomp their houses. That happens in the promo only a little bit more than it probably should, because it's a little bit out there, but when I wing it, I turn into a fucking goofball. What can I say? I do both. Do I know that UV or Nathan X could stomp me? I'm assuming that's a joke question, so I'm going to answer that in character. And due to the fact that I recently bought your Merc organization, UV Merc Corps, you could stop me and you would be rightfully unemployed shortly thereafter. Although the Shogun in me says this has yet to been proven in a match, so, you know, what's up? When am I increasing their pay? I thought that was your guys' department. I mean, I'm a member, you guys are members of the board, and I'm a member of the board, but I kind of take more of the general manager and booking aspect. Last time I checked, I thought financial merchandising was UV and Nathan X's department. If you haven't gotten a raise in 6 years, you might want to take a look in the mirror and be like, why do I not love myself? Just saying. Don't sell out to the dude. Next question, what has been my favorite feud so far? I'd say probably the most interesting feud I've had so far is with Mike. Shogun versus Draven. When we first started our feud, It started in the World Television title, carried to... what was the title after that? Carried to the United States title, carried into the World Heavyweight title, back down to tag team, back up through European IC. It's a feud that has spanned every single championship in the AWW, and I don't know. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I think when you see Shogun and you see Draven, you see Yin and Yang, and they're probably going to be connected at the hip, beating the fuck out of each other until we kill the characters off. So that's probably going to be my favorite feud. My greatest memory in AWW. There was a time I was a dick as Shogun, and I had a knack for if I thought you were being really fucking obnoxious or annoying in your promo, I would run in on you like it was a mini Hell Week. And Albert, at the time, I think, was just gaining ground as Genesis and had only maybe like 1-2 matches to that character's name and was already full of himself, thinking he could take me on. And we were both standing on a stage when it happened, and I politely was like, so if you think you know everything, let's see how much your ass knows about flying. And I threw him right the fuck off the stage. And I didn't stop after that, because then I picked him up and I threw him through the sound equipment, and I dragged him down to the ring, and I brutalized him with almost every single thing I could possibly think of, thinking that would be the end of it, that I'd just give him a little Hell Week and he'd learn his lesson. The next show, he Supermaned it, and was still running at the mouth about how he was going to kick Shogun's ass. So I was like, well, I already beat the fuck out of this poor guy. Where did I go from there? And so I don't know where it came from, but again, we went at it in the ring. And I don't know where the inspiration for the idea came from, but I had left the ring while stomping him, and I had pulled out a gallon of gasoline that was just happened to be under the ring. And I doused him in gasoline, and I proceeded to light his ass on fire. That's why they don't let Shogun play with fire anymore. But that was probably my greatest memory. That was the first time I lit somebody's ass on fire, and it turned out to be Albert. Fun fact. Top 10 all-time competitors. Nate, I don't know if you meant like just AWW top 10 or if you meant promo only. Promo only, I could probably give you a top 5. AWW, I could certainly give you a top 10. Number 1 would have been Travis. 2 would have been Mike. 3, Jeff Hammer. 4, Jason Lord. 5 would have been, I'd probably say Dave Shorai. 6, Terry. 7, Justine. 8, Bob. 9, Ralph. And then 10, I could say myself. I probably could have been labeling myself higher up, but I like to be humble. So with 10, I'll say probably rounded off at 10. I'd probably say Albert when he wasn't obnoxious. Top 10. Top 5 I could do for promo only. I'd probably say Trey, Rudra, Rucker, Will, and then I'd probably have to put up there for either Maylad, again, sorry if I mispronounce your name, or Legacy Johnson. Those are my top 5, with 5 being in tie. We'll take it as